What do you think about school prayer or bringing in religious leaders into a school and requiring all the students to come?
I think that kind of thing is good for education. Think about this, whether you're a Christian or an atheist. The most important question any human being can address is, does God exist? Why? Because if God exists, there's a right way to live, there's a purpose to life. If God doesn't exist, there's no necessarily right way to live. You can live any way you want because there's no purpose to life. And right now, our school system is built upon the premise that God does not exist. Yet the most important academic question and existential question for any human being is, does God exist? Our founding document, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men were created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and governments instituted among men, not to give these rights, not to take them away, but to secure them. We ought to be teaching that everyone is made in the image of God, that our Creator has endowed us with certain unalienable rights, and the reason that you ought to treat people well is because they're made in the image and likeness of God. We ought to be teaching that in schools. That's not establishing a church. That is reflecting our founding document. We're not telling people they have to be a certain religion, or they have to go to a certain church, or they have to, engage in certain rites or rituals. We're simply saying, this is how our country was founded. It's founded on theism and God-given moral rights, and we ought to be teaching that. Do you realize, by the way, that the first law that established public schools in America was called the 𝗦𝗘𝗏𝗧𝗓 law? It was established in the late 1600s. I think it was in Massachusetts. And the law was put into place to create public schools to teach school children how to read the Bible so they wouldn't be deceived by the 𝗦𝗘𝗏𝗧𝗓. That's how public schools began in America. And as soon as you start throwing that idea that God is out, when you start throwing God out, then the schools become godless. Now we have metal detectors in schools.
I had a teacher that brought in a guy that was Muslim, and he told us how that it was the same God of the Bible, that that they believed in Jesus, just not that he was the Messiah, and all of this philosophy about Islam. So,
from an education perspective, that's a good thing. Invite him in to tell what he believes, and then invite the Christian in.
Well, what if this teacher did this every day, and he came in and had us pray?
Well, okay, now you're getting into prayer.
I asked you about school prayer.
Okay, well, as long as there are tests in school, there will be school prayer.
I'm not talking about individually led.
Okay.
I mean, I used to pray, please help me on this test. But I am talking about a teacher leading everybody, or a principal, an administrator of the school leading the prayer.
I think that should be up to every school board. If they want to do that, they can. I know that they do that. They teach the Bible in some schools in the South. I know they do in Mississippi. I don't know if they do here in Alabama. So
you're saying, okay, bring religious leaders in, but it could be any kind of religious leader.
I think for education purposes, religion ought to be taught. But you can't force anybody to be a Christian. God doesn't force us to be a Christian. You can't force love. All you can do is provide the evidence and let people decide for themselves.